ThinkCentral Homework Lesson 5.9. So first problem, they're asking us to kind of use mental math to help solve a problem. If 2,185 divided by 23 is 95, then what is 21.85 divided by 23? Well, if you notice, the only difference between this number and this number is the 2 decimal points. So just like we did with multiplication, it's the same with division. You just move that decimal point up to the top here and plug in your numbers. So the only difference are the 2 decimal points in the quotient. So the answer should be 95 hundredths or 0.95. Same problem here, except this time they're putting a decimal point in the divisor. So if you look here, this divisor in this problem is 63 and this is 6.3. So this divisor is 10 times as big as this divisor here. So what that means is your quotient should be 10 times bigger because you're dividing by a much smaller number. So if this answer is 29 here, let me mark that. If this answer is 29 without the decimal point, then this answer here, the quotient should be 290, and I'll show you how that works with the long division. Since we don't want to divide by a decimal, you move this over one space to the right, which is basically multiplying it by 10, and so you do the same to this dividend here. You move that over one space to the right, annex is 0, and you move that decimal point up. So you can see here that if you do that, then your answer will be 290. Alright, simple division problem. We do not want to divide by a decimal, so we multiply the divisor by 10, and we multiply the dividend by 10, annex is 0, moving on up to the quotient, and then we have 6 into 480. These are equivalent division problems, and they're going to get the same answer, so that's why we can do that. Just like equivalent fractions, so 6 will go into 48 8 times, and 6 will go into 0 times. The answer should be 80. This, if it was just 6 into 48, it would be 8, but since it's 6 into 480, it's 80. Alright, let's swoop it up here. Swoop, swoop, and I multiply that side. This is the same as multiplying by 100, so I have to multiply the dividend by 100 also, so that's a double swoop. Add a 0, and then we divide normally after we move it on up to the quotient. So 6 will go into 46 7 times. 7 times 6 is 42. There'll be 4 left over. Bring down the 2. 6 will go into 42 7 times. Nothing left over. Bring down the 0. 6 will go into 0 times. The quotient is 770. The Clark family's having a big party. They have 318 chairs, and they want to put 7 chairs at each table. How many chairs will be left over? So our answer is going to be the remainder. In a perfect world, I would actually draw 318 chairs, and I would split them into groups of 7, and I would count those groups, and I would get the answer. So using repeated subtraction, but division is the same as repeated subtraction, it's just a little bit faster. So 7 does not go into 3 hundreds, 7 does go into 31 tens, going to go in 4 times. You're going to end up with 28. Subtract 28 from 31, you get 3 tens left over, and regroup those into 38 ones. 7 goes into 38 5 times, and there will be 3 chairs left over. So they will be able to have 45 tables, and there will be 3 chairs left over. Lakeisha and Raj went to the store. Lakeisha bought a television set for $1,248.80. That is 28 times as much as Raj spent on his video game. So I've drawn a comparison bar model. This is Lakeisha's TV set right here, and this is 1/28 of that would be what Raj meant for a video game. So I need to figure out what is 1/28 of 1,248 and 80. And I'm going to use division to do that because multiplication and division are inverse operations. I could multiply by 1/28, but I'll divide by 28. So to set up my problem with my place value columns, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move this decimal point up to the quotient bar because I don't want to forget that. 28 does not go into 1,000, nor does it go into 1200s. It does go into 124 tens, and I'm going to guess that it is 4 times because this is close to 30, and 4 times 30 is 120. 4 was a good estimate, so I end up with 12 tens left over. I bring down the 8. I have 128 ones. Again, I'm going to go with 4, and I'm going to get 112 again, and I'm going to subtract that to 16. I'm going to bring down the 8. How many times will 28 go into 168? The estimate is going to be 6, and it turns out that 6 times 28 is 168, so I have nothing left over, and so his video game should cost $44.60, and I would check this with a calculator. All right, that's a little bit of practice with dividing by decimals, division involving decimals. Going to take some time to master this, so go ahead and keep studying. Ask for any help if you need it. Thanks.